Daily Dodge TV studios with Terry Bell for today's community comment.
Thank you so much, Jake. And we're talking today about Beaver Dam city business with Mayor Bobbi Marck and Administrator Larry Bierke. If you have any questions or comments, we invite you to join the program. Our phone number, and you can text on our texting line too. That's 920-887-9595. You can also call us on the studio line at 885-4446. And Bobbi and Larry, welcome to Community Comments.
Good morning, Terry.
Good to see you again.
Good morning.
Boy, tonight is going to be a very busy night. Probably the most important night of the year for the Common Council, which is the budget public hearing and final action.
You have it, Terry. One of the things that I think the public needs to understand is that the council can want to do all kinds of things, but without the funds to do so, those things don't happen. And the budget is where the rubber hits the road. It's where we make our priorities clear based on where we're putting resources. And so we're going to be having a public hearing this evening about the budget. Our finance director, Kayla Larson, will be presenting it. There'll be an opportunity for both council members and the public to weigh in, ask questions, look at all the specifics and sort of the general trends, and then the council will vote on tonight's budget.
It's got to be the single biggest undertaking in the year. I imagine there's a lot of puzzle pieces when you're talking about not only expenditures, but money coming in and how that all fits together, trying to provide the people with a quality public service while at the same time, keeping costs and taxes as low as possible.
Exactly. And I do want to give a shout out to Kayla, because normally the finance director and the city administrator work very closely to produce the budget. But unfortunately, because of our situation, we lost our city administrator in June. And so we did have a very capable interim city administrator over the summer helping to start to craft the budget. And Jay Shambo, our interim, was here in September when we had our first budget workshop with council members, where the council is first introduced to what's potentially going to be in the budget, and they can weigh in and discuss some of their priorities and what they would like to see and not see. And then it continues to be worked on with department heads and other staff members. And then we hired Larry. So Larry kind of came in late in the process. He hasn't had an opportunity to have a huge impact on this year's budget. I'm sure next year he will. But yeah, so it's been a little bit tricky navigating this year's budget cycle because of the change in leadership.
And the mill rate, we don't have any specific numbers available offhand, so stay tuned for the news tomorrow. We'll have more specifics for you. But it sounds like the mill rate is as low as you could possibly make it.
Yeah, I believe there's a slight increase in taxes, but basically it's kind of a very close to a repeat from last year in terms of where the money's going, in terms of the amount of money that we intend to finance. It's a conservative budget in that it's not a whole lot different than the previous year. We work to keep things in line with what we did last year.
Okay.
So.
Another big development tonight, we very well may have a District 6 alder seated. The applications have been coming in now after several months of inactivity on the part of public interest. Suddenly now we have 4 applications.
Yeah, it wasn't months, it was weeks.
Weeks?
Right? Because I believe
I stand corrected.
Yeah. But yeah, in the last 2 weeks we've had 4 people step up and say they were interested. So tonight, each of them will be given an opportunity to talk to council and to make the case as to why they should be chosen to fill that vacant seat, and then the council will vote.
Is there any criteria for the person that will be chosen? Are there questions that alders are not allowed to ask? How does that all work out?
they're not allowed to ask the same kinds of questions that anyone would not be allowed to ask in an interview. But other than that, other than those legal restrictions, they can ask questions. And I'm sorry, what was the other part of your question?
Well, it's just I guess what's off limits, and what criteria? I mean, it's
criteria.
sort of like,
Yeah.
on what basis will the successful candidate be chosen? On what strengths?
Yeah, the only criteria legally that they have to live in District 6 and be 18 and be an eligible voter, so they can't be a convicted felon. But other than that, there are no other qualifications.
How important is it for that district? I believe it's in the hospital area, southeast part of the city. How much of a difference will that be for folks in that district to have representation on the council?
Having someone on the council gives you a direct line to what the city is doing, and very often things that the city council tackles is based on an email or phone call that a citizen made to an alder, and the alder brings it up at a committee meeting, and away we go. So it's their strongest link to what happens in city government.
Very good. Other things coming up, work on a future new fire station or two goes along. The consultant, Larry, is working very hard on progress in that direction, on making some final recommendations. Some public input was provided a few weeks ago, but the consultant, I understand, is trying to get us closer to some some options that they'll recommend.
Yes, they did do a presentation to the city council. At that point, the council recommended adding a couple of additional locations to the analysis. We are coming back with an option for one fire station site and an option for 2 fire station sites. So in the option of 2 sites, one would be a primary, and then we would have an ancillary or a smaller station to help with response times, one on the north side and one on the south side. As Beaver Dam grows or continues to grow, we need to be aware of response times and how the location of a new fire station can impact response times over the next 20 or 30 years, or potentially longer, depending on how long and how fast the city grows. So we're in the midst of a big planning endeavor, and I would anticipate that the fire station is not something, it's not a new conversation, and it will remain a conversation in the community for probably at least a few more years, as we begin to figure out the location, secure the site, and start planning.
Okay, one more bit of business, and I think one that folks are very happy about, and that is the work on 3 blocks of Madison Street that kind of dominated the conversation in Beaver Dam over the summer is now complete, and people can drive up and down Madison Street.
Yes, I'm happy to report that the construction is complete. This was a huge project, one that had not been done. It was overdue, has been decades in the making. It wasn't just a resurfacing of the street. It was a total rebuild from Curry to Chatham, that entire stretch. It included new water mains, new stormwater mains, new wastewater mains, curb, gutter, surface, everything, grading, something that has been needed for a very, very long time. So we are extremely pleased to have accomplished that. The good news is it should last us for another, 40 years, I think they say a concrete road is supposed to last. The bad news is we're going to do it all again next summer. We're going to be doing the segment from Chatham to Rowell. Same thing, complete rebuild. But when we're done at the end of next year, we'll have a beautiful brand new stretch of a really important lifeline for Beaver Dam. That's one of our main north-south highways, and so we want to make sure it's in good repair.
Anecdotally, one question that occurred to me was that I think one thing that people objected to about this recently completed project was the detour was so long. There's no real way to cut across from west to east on South Madison Street. You have to go way out of the way. Might the detour for this next chunk of work be much less burdensome?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean, we're anticipating that Curry Street, as you said, Curry Street is the way if you're on the southeast side of Beaver Dam and you want to get to the southwest side, that's the one route. Whereas there's more opportunities in the next segment of Madison Street for that cross traffic. Whoops. So, yeah, I also know from the phone calls and emails that I received that it was the Curry Street intersection, which was a big complaint, but then the fact that there was also a state project going on in the detour area of 151 that a lot of people, it was like, just adding, insult to injury. They were very unhappy with the fact that the detour involved state orange barrels and single lane traffic. So, we had absolutely no control over that, of course, but I'm just glad the road's open.
Certainly, and as inconvenient as road work may be, it sounds like I might have been in elementary school the last time the infrastructure in Madison Street got a good going over. So it's necessary. The only alternative to no road work ever is crumbling streets and infrastructure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to note how important Madison Street is going to be in our future. I mean, that's a pretty significant interchange. It's a pretty significant entry feature to our community, and it needs a little bit of work. So I'm really happy that the city's investing the money and the time to get it fixed up.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we chose that South Madison site for one of our new entrance signs, is because we're recognizing that it's a really important hub, and we want to continue to make it inviting and make it, have it continue to be an important part of the city.
Very good. We need to take a break here, but we will be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
Find
106.3 WBEV, here's Terry Bell.
Thank you very much, Jake. We're talking to Beaver Dam Mayor Bobbi Marck and Administrator Larry Bierke about all things happening in Beaver Dam that affect us throughout the city. If you have a question or a comment, we invite you to join the conversation. You can call us or text us at 920-887-9595, or you can call the studio line at 885-4446. The dominant issue facing Beaver Dam these days is, of course, the Meta AI data center that's going up in the newly annexed north part of town. It's generating a lot of strong feelings on all kinds of sides. And Bobbi, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind taking the next few minutes to explain to us what exactly is a data center, what happens there, and and the recent history of these projects throughout the country.
Yeah, thanks, Terry. First, let's start out by saying data centers have existed since the 1940s. Modern data centers that we think of, similar to the facility that's going to be here, have been around since the very early 1990s. So any kind of technology that's been around for 35 years is obviously going to change and grow over time. And so when some of the horror stories that we've heard about data centers relate to either older facilities or facilities that were using technologies that are either no longer used or are not being used in this specific example. There are over 5,000 data centers in the United States alone, and there are thousands more around the world. And so this is not a new technology. This is not a new industry. I realize it's new for Beaver Dam and for Dodge County, but it's the wave of the future. And what people need to understand is if they like talking on their cell phone, if they like streaming movies on their TV, if they like using any kind of social media, if they like streaming videos, that all requires data centers, because all of those are data industries, and every different data industry uses some form of a data center, whether it's a huge data center like, we're getting a pretty good size one, although it's not Meta's largest by far. It's fairly small by their standards. But there are all kinds of data centers. There are some that they call edge data centers, which is just a small, you would drive by and you would just think it was a small warehouse. So there are thousands of data centers out there, and the technology is constantly evolving. And we feel really lucky that here in Beaver Dam, we were able to strike a deal with a really good community partner, a company that values its relationship with the community that it's in. Meta has a variety of products, Facebook, Instagram. Well, I'm sorry.
And a bunch of others.
I'm not a big user of them, but I know they have a variety of products that are all supported by data centers. And so they have, I think we're number 26 in the United States, that they use for various purposes. So when we look at the specific data center in Beaver Dam, our involvement, the city's involvement doesn't begin until 2019. Just before 2019, Alliant Energy and the state of Wisconsin, working through their WEDC, the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, those two entities work together to find a site somewhere in the state of Wisconsin to promote as a large energy-using industrial site. And at that time, their plan was to have the site pre-certified, meaning it's already undergone all of the various testings. It included an environmental certification study, a wetland study, an archaeological study, endangered species, and all kinds of other testing and studies that could be done ahead of time so that when and if some large industrial company was looking for a site in Wisconsin, it would be ready to go. So they wouldn't have to wait for the permits and all those kinds of things. So that was before the city was involved. The county was involved at that point. And those three entities created what they called the Beaver Dam Commerce Park, which was a large pre-certified site. So then they set out to market that. And with the help of the city Beaver Dam, they marketed it, and over the years there were some nibbles and various companies expressed interest. The one thing that was intended is Alliant was looking for a large energy consumer because Alliant, their company, produces electricity, and so their goal is to sell electricity. That's how they make money. And so the whole point was to find a large energy user to occupy that site. So back in end of 23, early 24, there was interest by Meta. They came in, and the process of negotiating with the city of Beaver Dam began, because these companies prefer to be on city water, city sewer, have city infrastructure, just like all businesses. Most businesses, I can't say all, but most businesses when they come to town, Generac is an also recent example. They want to be part of and use city services and pay property taxes. So the city negotiated a deal, and there was lots of back and forth, lots of questions by, at that point, our city staff, our professional engineers and utilities director and our attorney. There was a lot of back and forth and study of the issue to decide what kinds of requirements was the city going to expect in some kind of economic deal with this big company. So after a lot of back and forth, in December of last year, the first thing that happened is in September, when it became clear that Meta was really interested in the site, we annexed that parcel into the city. Because again, they were not interested if it was not part of the city. So the first step the city actually took was in September of last year, when we annexed what was called the Beaver Dam Commerce Park, plus some additional acreage into the city. Then in November, the council approved the creation of a TID, which, as I think we've talked about on this program before, a tax incremental district, which is a tool, the state has created to allow cities to have some money to do economic development with. And so that was the next step, is because we knew we would need the help of a TID to get this project off the ground. So in September, the council approved the TID. Then in December, early December, the final developers agreement, the legal document, the contract between the city and Meta, was brought before council with all the details. And this, after the December 2nd meeting, when it was approved by council, it went public. It was part of the public record. So people then and now can go online and read the specific language of our deal with Meta. I do want to point out that we got a really good deal, that there is almost zero risk, financial risk for the city on this project.
We'll talk more about that. We do have to take a break for the news, but we will be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
The Daily Dodge TV studios with Terry Bell for more of today's community comment.
Thank you very much, Jake. We're talking to Beaver Dam Mayor Bobbi Marck and Administrator Larry Bierke about all things happening at City Hall that affect us all over Beaver Dam. If you have a question or a comment, you can call or text us at 920-887-9595. You can also join the conversation by calling our studio line at 885-4446. And before you went to the news, Bobbi, you were explaining kind of the timeline and the due diligence that was happening from the time that Alliant Energy and Meta approached the city of Beaver Dam and the time that this deal was approved.
Right. So last December, the council approved the developers agreement. But I do want to say that one thing most people maybe don't realize is that the council members, they're your elected representatives, but they're not professionals. We rely on the professionals who do this job day in and day out, the people, who know the technical details of all of the city infrastructure, the people who know the legal details, that those are the people that were involved in direct conversations with Meta from the very beginning, asking questions, making sure those questions got answered, looking at what the current trends are when it comes to these kinds of developments. And so the council relies on those experts to give us the information. But I do want to point out, I know personally that there were conversations both with the Beaver Dam Area Development Corporation Board, which is for those of you who don't know, that's our economic development arm that helps bring these projects to the city. There were discussions with that board way back in terms of what about water, what about electricity, drilling down on all those questions in terms of finance and how, looking out for the best interest of the city. And those same kinds of questions were also raised by council members in closed session. Now, unfortunately, the public wasn't privy to those questions, but because of industry practices that with large business developments, it is common to have NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, to keep information from the media until there is no longer competitive advantage. I know, Generac, we had limits on the amount of information that we could release because the idea is that this is a highly competitive industry, and so competitors could gain an advantage if they have some kind of inside information. So that's another reason, and it's common practice in economic development to limit the amount of information, at least initially, that goes to the public. But that's not to say that that information is kept from the city as they're trying to decide if this is a project worth pursuing.
I guess, and that kind of gets to the heart of a complaint that I've heard often, and you've heard often, I'm sure, that the public was not a part of this process until after the fact. And is that a thorough understanding of what happened, and and why did things go down the way they did?
Well, I can tell you the answer from my perspective. So we approved the developer agreement in December. It was in the media. It was public record. And I can understand why perhaps there wasn't a lot of questions because, it's a legal document. It's long. It's, a lot of jargon. But if you look at the developer's agreement, it's pretty clear what's going on. It's a very large, if you read between the lines, you can tell it's a data center that's coming in. Then in February, early February, the city released a press release stating that the incoming development was a data center. And we assumed we would get a flood of questions and concerns. And Terry, February, March, April, May, June, July, it wasn't until the end of August that I personally got more than a trickle of concern. Most of the questions and concerns went to our economic development director because that was our point person, that's who he directed, but even he got a very small number. We kind of thought, oh, I guess people aren't as concerned as maybe we had thought they would be. That there just didn't seem to be a whole lot of interest. And the few people that contacted me or contacted our economic development director, I had a handful of phone conversations, a few emails, and in many cases, we answered their questions, and the people seemed to be okay with the decision that had been made. So to me, this seems really late in the process because we've been sitting on this information since February, and to have it all of a sudden in October be an issue, or late September perhaps, be an issue. And I should note that walls went up in October. This was not, they were not just breaking ground. They actually have walls up at about the same time that people started expressing concerns. So,
So I guess, all of these things got us to where we are today. What's the best path forward to getting us all to a point where I don't think everybody is ever going to be completely happy, but what do we do now to bring people together, about this situation?
the first thing I'd suggest is after our last council meeting, where we had a large group of concerned citizens expressing their ideas and their questions, the city staff got together and created some documents which attempted to answer the questions that were raised. So we listened to what they were concerned about. We put them in, we have 3 different formats. One is a short little brochure, just kind of a quick look. One is a 1-page frequently asked questions format, and one is a more detailed 3-page fact sheet. All of these documents can be found on the city website. We've posted them to Facebook. They're all in hard copy forms at City Hall and the library and the Watermark. If people want electronic copies, all they have to do is email me or the city clerk or their alder, and we will send them electronic versions. That this is our best attempt to answer the questions that were raised at our last meeting. And if you have questions that aren't included on these sheets, email me, email your alder. Let us know what other questions we can answer for you.
We're going to take a break here, but we'll be right back. You're listening to Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
95.3 WBEV, and we are Community Comment. We are going to send it to Terry Bell for more of that right now.
Thank you very much, Jake. This is Community Comment. We're talking with Bobbi, Marck, and Larry Bierke of Beaver Dam City Hall. If you have a question or a comment, we invite you to join the conversation at 920-887-9595, or you can call our studio line at 885-4446. Boy, it seems not that long ago it was Downtown Fall Festival, and now all of a sudden we're shifting gears and it's time to be thinking about the holidays.
Yeah, and I'm really excited as I look at the long list of things that are going to be happening all over Beaver Dam, and I was hoping maybe I could just talk about some of those, Terry, and
Of course.
get people thinking and writing things on their calendars. For you early shoppers, the Dodge County Center for the Arts already has their holiday gift gallery open, and it's up and running, so I encourage you, always some really cool things there for gift giving. Downtown, various businesses, well, not just downtown, all across town, are currently involved in a promotion called the Holiday Hustle. It's good from now till November 23rd. All you have to do is spend $25 at any of 17 local businesses. You bring your receipts totaling $25 or more down to the Nancy Zeman Sewing Studios. Show them your receipts and you get a free gift. Plus, your name gets put in a drawing for other prizes at the end of the 23rd is when that promotion ends. So yeah, so if you're going to be shopping anyway, why not get a gift and win a prize?
I just want to ask a quick question first. Jake, if you're listening, I think I still hear music underneath us. I was wondering if
Is it
we could
Christmas
bring
music?
that. Well, if it was Christmas music, that'd be very appropriate. Not sure I still hear them. I kind of still hear a little bit of music underneath us, but we'll forge on.
Okay, and then a highlight of the holiday season here in Beaver Dam is the gorgeous Rotary lights, and those will have their lighting ceremony on November 28th at 5 o'clock. So we encourage everyone to get down to Swan Park and see the amazing Christmas wonderland that the Rotary Park has created. November 29th, Small Business Saturday is running a promotion downtown from 10 to 3 called Get Caught Shopping Small. So there will be chamber ambassadors who will be out mingling within the stores, and they will randomly be awarding prizes to people who are shopping.
Oh,
So again, something you got to do anyway, get out there and find some cool gifts and then get a gift yourself. Then, of course, the big holiday parade on Saturday, December 6th, starting at 5 o'clock. The theme this year is Rockin' in the Holidays, and as always, we'll have the high school marching band. There will be a variety of floats. Santa and Mrs. Claus will be there pulled in their carriage, plus, of course, a wide variety of local entries into the parade as well. Then, at that same time, there's going to be a holiday open house at the Chamber from 4 to 6. They'll be lighting their Christmas tree. They'll have cocoa and treats and arts and crafts for families. There's also at the Watermark from 10 to 2 that day, Santa's Hometown Adventure, which is a variety of family fun events at the Watermark. Starting at 10 o'clock, free hot cocoa and coffee and tea and all kinds of craft projects, make your own ornament, make a little reindeer food. There will be live music by the high school a cappella choir singing Christmas music, and then Mrs. Claus will be visiting the Watermark before the parade. We also should mention that Beaver Dam Area Community Theater has 2 shows that are holiday appropriate. One is Judy Hines' In Hindsight series, which is from December 11th through the 13th, and that's one that almost always sells out. So if you're interested in having a little nostalgia, a little singing, a little comedy, I would suggest that show. And then the One Voice Children's Choir on Sunday, December 14th, will have their annual Christmas concert. So what is more heartwarming at Christmas time than children singing Christmas carols? Can't beat that one. There also is on Saturday the 13th, the Beaver Dam Area Orchestra does their annual Christmas concert, one at 5 and one at 7. 5 o'clock is more geared towards kids. Every kid gets a free gift. It's an amazing, amazing event, a tradition here in Beaver Dam. And then finally, I should mention Happy Hula Days on Thursday, December 11th. At the Watermark, the City Recreation Department is sponsoring their annual Christmas party. This year it is a Hawaiian theme, and it involves, as always, holiday food and beverages. Tony Rocker, an Elvis tribute artist, will be performing, and people are encouraged to dress in their best holiday or Hawaiian-themed attire. So all kinds of things happening.
Yeah, and these things seem to kind of grow on the momentum that they build from the good feelings that people had last year. I want to backpedal a little bit. I don't want to catch you. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I had heard that attendance for the Downtown Fall Festival was 9,000 this year. Was that?
Actually, it was, I believe, 9,600, but their data does not include children.
Ah.
And anyone who was there knows that there were tons of families downtown having a great time. So, yeah, we outperformed last year, which was, I was surprised because the weather wasn't quite as nice. So I kind of thought, if we equal last year, I'll be happy. But yeah, they outdid themselves again this year.
And the parade coming up, I know a lot of people are excited about the annual parade.
Yeah, always a fun time.
Very good. And what is the date and time on that again?
The holiday parade is Saturday, December 6th. The parade kicks off at 5 p.m. downtown.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Well, we just have a minute or so left, Bobbi. I was just wondering if there's anything else about the upcoming holiday celebrations you'd like to share.
Well,
We've pretty much covered it.
yeah.
I think
Okay.
it's important for everybody to remember why the holiday season is there and to be thankful for your neighbors and celebrate together. Don't be afraid to check in on friends and loved ones, neighbors who don't get a lot of visitors. It's an important time of the year.
I love that. And I also want to say I don't want to be disrespectful. I'm excited for the coming Christmas season, but Thanksgiving, I think, is a really important holiday too, one of my favorites. So, wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving. The same sentiments that Larry echoed. It's a great time to connect with family and with people maybe that you haven't seen in a while. Good luck, deer hunters. We've got to throw that in there. So I hope everyone has an enjoyable Thanksgiving.
Very good. And we want to thank you for coming in and talking with us today, Larry Bierke and Bobbi Marck. This has been Community Comment on 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge. Again.